So you mentioned you started an esports agency?
Yeah, esports org back in 2020, right when COVID started.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did that idea come from?
So back in the World Cup days of Fortnite, I was actually playing a bit of competitive Fortnite with a pro player, and we were trying to qualify for World Cup, and I really enjoyed like that competitive journey. And I wasn't that good, but the player I was playing with was really good. His name was Fresh, and he low-key, high-key carried me. But
Did you guys qualify?
Sorry?
Did you guys qualify?
No, we got like sixth or seventh in our best duos week.
Oh, okay.
You need to get first to qualify.
damn.
So, because not many spots for Australia. But
Right.
yeah, I really enjoyed the competitive journey, and I just liked being involved in just competitive Fortnite. And so Australia doesn't have much of a scene for esports, so I just wanted to get behind it and really start making content for competitive in Fortnite was definitely a big drive for me, and just bringing people together in Australia.
Right. Was it more to like grow the Australian kind of like esports scene, or because like a big thing is that starting an esports organization,
worst financial thing you can do.
Exactly. Worst financial. How's that been, man?
Hey, look. What's the meme of like Boiis and Ludwig burning money over a fire? Seen that one? Yeah, pretty accurate. Look, it's a challenge, and that's probably why I like it, because it's like it's the first business I've ever done, or business adventure, that just loses money, and it's like fundamentally that's
fucking hard. That's so sick.
It's like fundamentally that's like, to me it's like, well, this is a failure, right? Because it doesn't make money. But it's like it's not about money. It's about honestly just bringing people together, making content, because it's more than just esports. It's a content journey. We do like a lot of IRL stuff, a lot of Fortnite stuff. We have a Rocket League team as well, so we do trying to get those boys involved as well.
Right.
Sticking in like the Epic Games metaverse, I suppose, as far as like their titles at the moment. But yeah, it's fun, it's different, it's really challenging, but I think we're making some good moves.
So tell me like the entire process about what goes behind actually just making an esports organization from the start.
Okay, so
like who do you talk to?
How do you even like start that?
And like, well, this is the other thing as well, is like I think it's just me and Moist are like the only ones playing with their own money. I think I think first step for most people is seek investors. I
get
think.
venture capital.
Like Toast too, maybe.
Oh, Toast as well.
Toast
Actually,
well,
no, that's true. But yeah, I think it's just honestly.
So step one, find money.
Find money. Find money.
Find money you want to burn.
What percentage of what I have can I burn?
Yeah, literally. Well, that's the conversation I had for myself. You just start with I have a really good kind of business partner that I've had from like kind of the start. His name is Billy. Like, started off in like kind of very professional lawyer services, so he helped me out with getting everything started and brought over kind of my team from like my editing team and stuff that I'd already built from my channel, and just try to like scale it a little bit. And then just hiring people and contracting players.
How'd you go about like finding players that you want to contract for your team and your organization? Do you have like trials, or is
it's very much just like what are their goals and do they align with ours? So our goals aren't like our goals. I mean, we're trying to definitely.
Is winning not the goal?
Don't be shit.
But that's like, I feel like that's kind of a fallacy. It's like winning for teams, I feel like is the highest priority, right? It's like, and I get it, right? You're not going in to lose. Like, you're obviously trying to win, but the top orgs at the top level, they got this money glitch coming in from somewhere. We don't know where it is, but they're spending so much on the top player, so to win it's very expensive, and that's why no one makes any money. Because they're just ego bowling each other to try and get the best players. So I actually, like, for me it's about picking the best talent in Australia and how we can prop them up to compete at an international level, because the meme is Australia goes overseas, we don't win. And it's like, you look at League, I don't know if you guys follow any esports?
I follow
Yes.
All my knowledge of esports comes from basically like League.
They dissolved.
They got rid of the League completely.
Like, gone. Because they were like, no one's watching.
No one's watching. And then so there's the time zone from like a commercial side. You're only putting it out to people who live in Australia, 30 million? So that's your viewership. And do they like esports? Well, not really, because we don't win. So it's kind of this weird relationship, right? So I think that's the big part of it. And trying to prop up those Australian players so that they can actually compete at the highest level.
Right. One thing I've always been curious about is, okay, you find the players because, you know, in the top kind of echelon of whatever game you're playing, there's only a few you can pick from that are like can perform at the top level. How'd you go about finding coaching and you know, that kind of getting that environment to really coach them into a esports kind of like environment?
Yeah, I've actually been pretty lucky with that one. The coach is actually not too hard.
Oh, really?
Had some really good like people in, you know, Fortnite and Rocket League who have just been from other organizations and just getting them involved. Like, that one's actually a pretty easy one.
Yeah, well, what do you think makes a good coach? Because I've always found it so interesting because, like,
our coach is doing a panel on this at DreamHack, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay, awesome. I'll fucking go there. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm qualified to speak on it, but like his coaching philosophy, this is Jim, our Rocket League coach, is he doesn't come from much of a gameplay perspective. He comes from more of a mental and like psychological perspective on like you know, trying to not tilt and setting up the players best for those kinds of... Rocket League's an interesting one. Like, it's very tilt heavy. Kind of specific esport.
Well, I would argue every esport is,
yeah.
right?
I've seen the Smash compilations. You know?
I think Rocket League doesn't give you much time to breathe.
Yeah.
League of Legends, if you die, you have 30 seconds to like compose yourself and like, all right, okay, I gotta get back in the game.
Yeah.
Rocket League's like, oh, I've just tilted and we've lost 4 goals.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's a fun one though. I really like Rocket League because I think anybody can understand what's going on.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
car soccer.
yeah.
Like,
Right.
That's why I love it.
That's what I love about the fighting game community, which is like, obviously fighting games, people tilt, but that's part of like the community, right?
Of course.
It's the soul,
That's
you know?
the best part.
They embrace it, you know? That's the best part of it, yeah.
I'm curious from like the esports perspective of like, let's say you have like League of Legends, you have 10 teams, right? Who compete every week or whatever. You know, where do you have to be on that, like in that top 10 for your team to be kind of breaking even or making money? Like, cause, and I imagine the problem balloons even more so with like Fortnite or Apex when there's like, you know, there's so many people, right? Because at least in League, right, maybe there's 50 people total. You know, Apex, maybe there's, you know, 180 people you have to kind of get to that level where somehow everyone can make just enough to survive.
Yeah.
And I find, like, what does it look like? Like, if we're in a game of Fortnite, which how many people are in a Fortnite game?
100.
Like,
yeah.
Okay, let's say we're in a pro Fortnite match, right?
Yeah.
How many of that 100 are living off of playing it professionally, and how many of them have to do other stuff in their spare time?
I saw an article on this. Depends on the region.
Okay.
In Australia, I don't
Like 5%.
even then. Like,
Oh, wow.
like the prize pool, they really nerfed it after World Cup. Like it's just gone down ever since.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why I honestly I don't think you could alone from a pure competitive standpoint. And that's why we try to really get the players involved with content, because that's
how you make
that's what you pitch. I know it's like so kind of like oversaid at this point of like, oh,
well, it's
orgs aren't profitable because they don't make content.
Yeah, it's like turning, you know, if you have like a Michael Jordan, right? You're like, hey, you should do Space Jam. You should do. It's like, hey, this is how.
Hey, you should stream. I don't want to stream.
Do more stuff. Yeah,
like diversify while your like I guess name value is like at its highest, right? Just to make sure to be like, all right, you know, you can make money in other revenues, just in case you fucking fall off a cliff skill-wise and, you know, you're not winning these games or whatever, right?
But it's a hard conversation to have with them because, like, their goal is just win.
Yeah.
It's not about, like, you know, if I put on a stream, I play worse so I don't stream. And, like, that's a hard, you know, chat I've had to players because I'm like, I'd kill to have your skill and be able to create content and stream. Like, I would actually kill for that. But, like, for them, it's just like, got third last week and we're looking for first, and it's like I'm you know, that's part of our agenda too. We want to win too, so it's like I'm just more trying to preach that kind of stability because like esports is very cutthroat.
It is like, okay, like in your experience, even if an esports organization was consistently winning and that's all they were doing, is that still enough to like, is the prize pool enough to make them a profitable business or something that can break even?
Yeah, because even that's a weird one. Like, for me, it's like, do people care about the org? Like that's my biggest goal. It's like, I don't really care about winning. Like going back to that. I mean, great. We want to win. We want to build a story. Don't get me wrong. And we're working towards that. And because you can really use that win with a story to create a reason for people to care. But I think that's where like a lot of, you know, these orgs go for just that winning, and it's like, oh, we won, okay, cool. Might get a few partnerships out of that. Like I'm sure everyone loves being with the winning team, but I think if you're not able to tell the story as well, then it gets a bit rough. And I think G2 would be a good example of a team that does that. Like really tells the story and wins.
Well, they have a huge content focus. Even if the players aren't doing it, they're like, well, we'll always have a crew. And we'll always film stuff. I think that's, but also, at least for their league team, they have quite a lot of characters who are pretty engaging and always doing some fun stuff.
I think from like a spectator, like kind of like viewpoint, obviously like winning is the easiest way to get someone invested in your team, because obviously there are a lot of people who just like cheering for a team that wins. But saying this as an Arsenal fan who got in back in the good old days, and now is like a kind of like a G2 fan for League.
I'm a G2 fan too.
Yeah, really? Nice.
I mean, EU. You know.
EU, baby. But one thing that really drew me towards both of these teams before the winning was just having this really exciting play style, or just like being like excited every time to see them play, because they had like a really kind of different play style as well. So even if you're just doing something exciting in the game, aside from just making content as well, because from my perspective, I started watching that content after I saw the exciting things that they were doing in game. So I was like, shit, I want to check these guys out. And then after that did I become a fan? Do you have like a kind of like a, let's say like a strategy to try and get people invested in your organization?
Yeah, and I mean it definitely is mainly around that content focus. Like I mean, for our channel on Power, we definitely try to involve as much around the community and the content creators within Australia. To try and very much get people on board, so that when they see us in a Rocket League game or when they see us in a Fortnite, it's like, oh, these guys create great content, and that's why I want to get behind them. That is the strategy for us at the moment, I would say.
Do you guys have a content house, or like
so we've
a powerhouse?
That's literally what it was called. It was called a powerhouse. We did it for like 1 month in Sydney, and we had our pro players come play on Zero Ping, compete in the finals. And then we just filmed a bunch of content. It was a great kind of test to see if it would work, and the videos did really well. Competitive players, I think we got a top 5 in there, and that was a good test. So now we're actually building a studio in Melbourne, which hopefully opens up in like a couple months, and that'll be the next big kind of investment from us to really have creative people there. It won't be more so for the players, but more so for the team and the content to really flourish.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the orgs are focusing on, you know, like merchandise and apparel, like building kind of some form of like
turning it into
like
a brand,
engagement and the brand and loyalty in the brand, which makes sense, right? Because YouTubers, one of the biggest ways they make money is merch. You know, it's one of the best margins in terms of you know, what the viewer gets something and they get to support you. So it's a good way of going about it. But I wonder how long it'll keep being like that. I wonder.
Yeah, like how involved are you in terms of like bringing your own personal branding of like your, you know, content creator YouTube kind of side of things into this esports organization? Because I feel like you guys, like you and Boiis and Ludwig and Toast, have a inherent advantage in that you already have a lot of people invested in you as a person. So bringing that kind of like brand power to your organization means it's an easy way to kind of like create people who are invested in your team.
100%. And it's like kind of like the story already started 10 years ago, and like this is like the end of it, like, or I suppose the current stage of it in the organization. It's definitely bringing a lot of that branding. Like I came from a full content creator perspective. I was like, the only way we're even going to get close to profitable is just making content. So let's just start there and work off players who have, you know, I suppose like kind of you were saying with G2, like more of a personality. And, you know, if they win, that's great too. Like, love that. And we got a few of those guys that are great characters and just really want to get involved in content, but also put in hard work at being the best at their game.
Is it ever a question of, you know, can the esports agency that's like you mentioned, like Boiis or whatever, can that org ever eclipse your own kind of influence and following, or is it something where it's always in the shadow of?
I would say it's probably above mine right now.
Really?
To be honest, yeah.
Oh,
Well, and that's
nice.
well, and it's not even because of that. It's because mainly my numbers have dropped
No.
off.
Yo, Sonny, I'm waiting.
Trade offer. Nah, look, but that's the thing is that like I run Power. I don't have like a CEO. I looked at it and they were all like, hey, $400K a year, and I was like, hey, I'll do it myself. And then, which is probably dumb in hindsight, because like I've definitely sacrificed a lot of time on my own channel because this has been my main priority.
Right. But also, I think it's whatever you enjoy doing.
Yeah,
if that's something that is more rewarding for you in your current stage of life, then like you know how to make videos. If you want to go back, you could easily start that grind and get back into it. I think.
Yeah, and I get tempted a lot, and I'm like, I'm taking a few months off. Like I think I was talking to you guys about traveling. Like gonna travel the next 2 months and just focus on Power and just kind of put my channel to the back for a bit, and then maybe come back to the studio in Melbourne and maybe rejig up my channel again. But at the moment, yeah, it's my number one priority is Power, because I think winning with a team is way cooler than winning by yourself. And that's what the channel was for 10 years, just doing well. But it's like, you know, you party with the other content creators, but it's like, imagine partying with the team. Like, to me, that's just so much cooler and so much more rewarding.
For
so,
sure, yeah.
Did you just say it's the friends we made along the way?
Hey,
We're Nakama.
It's not about winning. We're a family. It's about the friends we made
take care of
along the
each
way,
other.
okay?
Sounds some anime shit right here. Yeah.
This is very anime. I didn't ask, and I should have asked this. What games does your org compete in?
Yeah, so it's Fortnite. We started there.
Okay. Of
And
course.
then Rocket League, which we were the first Australian team to ever sweep an NA team in Rocket League earlier this year.
Congrats.
So I consider that a huge W for us. It was G2 as well, by the way.
Hey.
Yeah, we loved that one. We loved that. And then, Fortnite, we've got 6 players, one of which got top 5 at DreamHack San Diego.
Fuck yeah, nice.
And he's going to Gamers 8 for that big $2 million tournament later this
Best
year.
of luck.
Yeah, no.
You can bring home some money.
No. I suppose, I think similar orgs have it, but we don't take any prize money.
Yeah,
that's kind of theirs, and we just help build everything else around it.
Yeah.
Which I think is definitely probably the better way of doing it.
Makes more sense.
How's it feel seeing your team compete?
So good. Like, okay, so here's the thing. Have you guys watched like Moist Rocket League watch parties?
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it.
it's so
Watching
good.
them
So
watch.
good.
Yeah.
Like,
Joyo! You musty! Rise! Yeah! Oh! Yes! Oh, baby!
so like, I watch him, right? And he's like, I was back in the spring major last year. We were competing, and I was streaming hours on YouTube, but we only made it past one round, and it was depressing because it was like 0-3, 0-3, we're out, and it was like, fuck. And then I'm sitting there living through Charlie, watching his team win. I'm like, fuck, man, I want that so bad. And they won it.
So
And then they won it, and I was like, fuck, man, I feel so good for him right now. I've done the opposite spectrum of like stream my team just getting absolutely rinsed by FaZe Clan and just another team, and it's just like, I think I've watched Charlie, his team lose. It's like,
it's depressing.
it's depressing as fuck,
but
man.
also that's the journey. Right?
But and it's
Like,
also the
that's-
content,
Yeah,
right?
like, you getting depressed.
viewers
is
they're loving watching your pain.
I saw Lotto just fucking like looking so defeated when his team lost. It was kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, like you see the highs, you get the lows, and that's
Yeah.
what makes
Yeah.
it great.
Yeah.
Because you see a man who's invested, like
Literally.
money and emotion.
Yeah.
It's like if you watched your Arsenal, but every time Arsenal lost, you would lose 50K.
No, no.
It's so much more fun to watch.
stakes are
It's
so
like,
much
it's,
higher.
it's like, this is great.
It's like a
That's just
deeper
high stakes gambling at
Yeah,
that
no, I was
point,
gonna say
right?
it's a deeper level in the game. It's like higher stakes because not even
Yeah.
just money, it's also time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's like the next
great.
level of sports betting. It's like I don't sports bet. I make my own esports team and then I bet on them.
But also,
you know?
it's kind of five head because they're buying essentially just guaranteed content for themselves as well.
Yeah.
Because you get that every single week or whatever they're playing. You get to stream it, and you get to then make money off of those streams.
Yeah, it's good in the content calendar wheel.
It's,
Like,
you know.
for streamers specifically as well. Like, I'm not much of a streamer. Like,
Yeah.
I started making YouTube content, but I did do like a 2-year YouTube deal streaming a while back. And that was where I really got into streaming. And it was interesting to learn. Like,
Yeah, not into the streaming because you got the YouTube deal as like the first wave.
Yeah, we were on the first wave of it back in the day. That when Mixer was really starting to pipe up, and Mixer signed Ninja, and then first Streamer War started, and it cooled. Now it's actually kind of back now. Kick, is back. Heard a couple rumblings going on.
Just sign my deal, damn. Okay, no, I love Twitch. I love Twitch.